am Alyson Tackitt, and welcome to Humans of CSU. Tonight, we have a lot to talk about, from frisbees to horses to even reality itself. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first group of people we have are going to look at Have Quiet an Arm. Disc golf is a leisurely yet exciting sport where players use rules and courses similar to golf to throw discs towards a target or basket. Okay, so go ahead and show me what I'm supposed to do.
All right, Alyson. So, key thing is you want to align yourself to the back.
Okay.
A lot of people, when you see them throwing frisbees, they're going to be sideways, tossing it this way. You're going to spray it right, spray it left. So, key thing, look at your toe and point it right at the bottom of the pole of the basket.
Okay.
That way, we're already starting ourselves off on the right foot by having ourselves right in line.
Okay.
Next thing is grip. So, I'll give you this putter.
Okay.
So, we want to make sure that our thumb is pointed forward, the way that we're trying to throw. So not in the middle here, but pointed forward.
Okay. That.
You did a good thing too with the grip here. We have these different indentations on our hands. The putter should fit right about in there. So you're good about it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Can you sound right?
Natural. And then you want to flip it over? Yep. Any kind of natural grip is good.
Okay. Right on.
So then now to the actual motion.
Okay.
You're going to want to go down with the putter, and as you're going down with the putter, you're leaning back. You're shifting your weight to your back foot. Okay. And then as you're coming up towards the basket, you're shifting your weight forward so that your momentum goes with the disc.
Okay. So here.
Ready to give it a try?
Yes.
All right.
So here, back, forward.
Oh. Another one. A little more power.
Okay. Okay. Back, forward.
There you go. We got a natural.
I'm on the team. I'm signing myself up.
Come to Sunday's tryout.
Perfect. I am here with Noah Newman today, the president of the Disc Golf Club, and I just wanted to ask you. So earlier in the video, we saw that I was being taught how to do some disc golf, and there's a certain stance that you have to do. Why is that? Why is that the stance?
So when you're putting and when you're doing all other kinds of things in disc golf, it kind of just sets you up mechanically so that your body motion kind of works for you. So you're going to use your body and use the leverage that you have to be as consistent or as powerful as possible and get as much energy into the disc to make it go further or come out clean, and just kind of set you up for success.
Okay, I love it. And also, I was going to ask you, why did you want to become president of this club?
You know, I transferred to CSU from a small, tiny college. When I transferred, I knew that I wanted to be on the club, and I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't part of the reason I chose to come here. But yeah, so then from there, I kind of was a part of the club, and opportunity popped up and decided to take it because
why not?
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we will have more from the humans here at CSU. So get yourself ready, and we will be right back.
I got a creak in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. I don't know what else to get on. All that I could do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
Hey Rams, welcome back to Humans of CSU. So today we have the disc golf team with me today. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good, good. So can you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Noah. I'm the president of the Disc Golf Club. I'm a fourth year here. I'm studying to be a biology teacher.
Nice.
I'm Andrew. This is my first year here. I'm studying business. I'm Luke. I'm studying statistics. This is my first year here as well.
Right on. So I'm going to start with you, Noah. How is disc golf similar to golf itself?
That's a good question. Pretty much the way that it's played is going to be very similar. So the way it's scored, the way that you kind of go about your playing stance, and kind of like how you go about the game. So you throw instead of hitting a ball, but everywhere from there is pretty much the same. And we're going to a basket instead of a hole, and you have to play from where your last throw landed and then keep going.
Okay, nice. I like it. So can you tell me, where do you guys compete at?
So in past years, we've had qualifiers down in California, but for the most part, Nationals is down in the South, which this year it's in North Carolina at Winthrop University, and it's mostly in the South usually.
In the South? Okay,
Yeah.
so can you tell me, does the weather affect you guys in playing? Because I know like down south must get like sticky, blizzard, all that kind of stuff, so does that affect you guys at all?
Oh yeah. Just this past week or weekend, we had a snow round, and it didn't go well at all. It was fun. It was fun, obviously.
Do you kind of go into it, like how come it didn't go very well?
The tee pads where we throw our drive off of, if it's completely iced over, we don't have good grip in our like stance, and we can't just throw as far.
Okay, so how many members are on the team?
Right now, there's probably about 12 to 15 members that show up pretty regularly. We have a pretty big list of emails that we've sent out, but mostly about 10, 12.
Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you, so starting with you, why did you want to get involved with this?
With the sport, I played because my dad played, and I thought my dad was super cool. So I was like, yeah, sweet, get to hang out with dad. And then the disc golf club, I actually transferred to CSU, and that was kind of like the first thing that I was into. I was like, yeah, let's play some disc golf.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I met Noah a couple years ago when I was just playing tournaments when I was in high school, and I talked to him, and I knew he was going to CSU, so I knew when I chose to come here that it was a resource and a club that I could join that I really liked.
Yeah, I've never played in an actual tournament before, and I wanted a professional and like more organized environment to get me into playing at a competitive level through tournaments and such.
Okay, so can you tell me, is there a certain season that this happens, the disc golf, or is it all year round?
It's all year round mostly, yes.
Okay. Let's see. So, if you could say one thing about the disc golf team that if somebody approaches you and says, "Hey, like, I want to join the team," what would you tell them? What should they expect coming into this?
Right. So first thing, I'd say find us on the internet, find our Instagram, and then we have a bunch of players tagged. So it's like either you can go follow them, you can just follow our team and then send one of us a DM, kind of do something like that. Or what you could do is you could just find one of us. We're always out tabling. We got like baskets and stuff out, generally on the plaza. We got super involved with Ram Welcome the last couple years. And so if you want to join, find us on the internet, find us on campus. I like to think all three of us look pretty unique, so if you see this, probably pretty easy to find us. Flag us down, just be like, hey, my name is, and then say you want to join the club, and practice 2 nights a week. We practice 7 to 9 on Mondays and Wednesdays, so you're more than welcome to just hop in if you want. We'll be at the Glen Morris Fieldhouse for both of those practices, indoor practice, and then we'll be playing outside as it starts to warm up more and more. And so you're always welcome to join us for that. Just find us on the internet and we'll get you in.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby,
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How good are you at multitasking? Well, if you can play a sport and ride a horse at the same time, you might know these people. CSU's polo team is driven by authentic horsepower, using swinging mallets and wooden balls. Two teams go head-to-head to see who can make the most goals.
I've been playing for about 13 years. I kind of grew up in the sport. My dad actually, it's what he does for a living. He trains polo horses, so he gets like baby horses off of the track and trains them to do all of this stuff. Yeah, so varsity, they travel a lot more. So we travel and we go play other colleges and we compete in like regionals, and then if we win there, we go on to nationals. And then also with varsity, it's just that tiny step above JV where we're playing a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive. And then in JV, they're moving a little bit slower and that sort of thing. But I mean, the whole point of JV is eventually they work their way up to get to that point to be playing fast and aggressive and having fun. So yeah.
Well, the people, obviously, I love all the people here so much. I feel like I've grown pretty close with them in the past year and a half. And then also just the game in general is such an adrenaline rush. I mean, just the more you get into it, and even with practices, just the feeling of being on the horse and being in the middle of the game and just, it's phenomenal. Just the feeling that you get and hitting the ball and being able to just play with other people and the communication that goes on. Mm-hmm. It's like nothing else. It's so much fun.
I am here with the polo team. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yes. Hi, I'm Marguerite McGill. I'm a second year here at CSU studying equine science and agricultural business.
Nice.
I'm Charlie. I'm currently a sophomore this year. I'm studying construction management, and I've been playing polo pretty much my whole life.
Okay. And I'm Lydia. I'm a first year here, and I'm studying health and exercise science.
Nice. Okay, so can you tell me, where do you guys get the polo horses that you compete on?
So we get the polo horses from people that actually used to play here at CSU, and we will go out to United States Polo Association and they will donate some horses to us as well. But it's usually on us to go out and to kind of make ourselves available for people to want to go and donate the horses. We show them the care that we give to the horses and what their lives are like after they're done playing at CSU. So. Okay,
so if you have your own horse, are you allowed to bring it in, or is it just mainly the donated horses?
Yes. Last year, our trainer, Jasmine Gallegos, she actually brought in 3 horses, and we were able to use those horses. They weren't quite a good fit for us, but you know what? We were able to play them last year, and actually got to use them. We were very fortunate about that.
Awesome. So when you join the club, do you have to have riding experience before, or can you come in as a beginner, or how does that work?
So the way it works is we actually don't require any riding experience because we have 4 different kinds of teams. We have the social member group, beginners, club/junior varsity, and then varsity. And so if you come in and you're saying, hey, I don't really have a lot of riding experience, that's totally okay. That's what the social member group is for. And those members typically spend more time on the ground, really getting to know the game from the ground, learning how to work with the horses, tacking them up, everything like that. And then once a month, they're actually able to do a lesson that we teach, and that just gives them a little bit more experience on a horse. But if you do have a little bit of riding experience but no polo experience, then you will go onto the beginners team, and then that's when we teach you the real game of polo. And then junior varsity and varsity is typically when you have both riding and polo experience.
Okay, so is it necessarily like a tryout experience? Is that how it works? Or is it just kind of show up and I get on and that's that?
Yes, so we host tryouts every fall semester of every year. So.
Okay, right on. So how many times do you compete during the season?
We'll compete about roughly 6 times. We'll have a few home games here, and then we'll be going out usually to Texas because we're in the central region. Wow. And so actually this past weekend, I went down to Texas and played qualifiers, and we actually got to be able to play and just kind of kick it with friends and just be able to hit a ball around. So it was a great opportunity for us.
Right on. So what is the gear that you guys wear when you compete?
There's I I guess there's a typical setup for game gear. We wear white jeans, tall riding boots, knee guards, helmet with either a face guard or glasses. Gloves are optional, elbow pads are optional, but those are typically the main pieces of the uniform.
Okay, so I know being around horses, it has to be pretty dangerous. Is there any like protocols that you guys follow when you guys are around the horses and traveling and competing and all that kind of stuff?
Yes. I was, I mean, definitely like, kind of like it helps when you do have the horse experience. Like you sort of have that kind of awareness, like around horses. We're definitely careful to know which ones need to go next to certain horses and who can't be around others, and because they all have their own little tics and special needs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So after like college and you guys graduate, can you guys make this a profession, or can you go to a professional level, or how does that go?
Yes, absolutely.
So you can go on to being a professional right now. The guy that actually was able to win our 2015 national championship is currently working with Ralph Lauren and Work to Ride, Kareem, and he actually made a pretty good career out of it currently. For a lot of people, they realize, you know what, this is really fun, and they just want to be around it, and so they're usually one of the workers, which we call grooms, and they just kind of go make sure that the horses are getting taken out early in the morning, late at nights, making sure that they get walked, fed, muck the stalls and everything. So it's very versatile when it comes to kind of working in the sport.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. I don't know what I'm scared of. It's very sad, no more love. All that I could do was remember you. I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw it some more.
Welcome back again, Rams, for our final group. They are changing reality as we know it. I met up with the VR president in Johnson Hall to discuss the misconceptions of virtual reality and how it relates to your own personal interests.
And definitely one of the big misconceptions that comes up is I have to be in a computer science field for that type of thing, which is definitely not true. Virtual reality is inherently collaborative, meaning that whenever I sit down to work on a VR project, I have to have a team of multiple different disciplines. Typically, if you look at a VR project or a gaming project, anything along those lines, you're going to have some people that are developers. They're going to be handling the back-end coding, which is a lot more of the technical does-it-work side. You'll have someone that's more on the front-end art side, that they're doing a lot of the visual aspects, a lot of kind of like the 3D modeling, user interface, those types of things. And then you typically have someone else that's more design side, or although that can usually float into either of the two sides. And their kind of idea is, I'm going to make sure that what's going on actually works, and so that's more of the user experience, making sure that things make sense from a just person using it standpoint. I'm sure you've probably come across a website or something where you click on something and it doesn't quite work, and you're like, why doesn't that not work the way I wanted to? And it's not a performance issue of like, oh, the button is functionally not working. It's more about that doesn't make sense. And so, VR in that case is inherently collaborative, but then you also have issues like if I'm working on like a geology project, I'm not a geologist, so I have to actually go talk to someone that is. So there's a lot of collaboration that goes there where we actually just need to talk to someone that's like in a specific field, especially at CSU with things getting a lot more scientific and technical from all different aspects.
I love how it literally brings the community together.
Yes.
Just by one element.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's the same thing with AR MR, any of these other extended reality technologies, which extended reality is just a blanket term that covers augmented, virtual, mixed, any type of the reality technologies.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to.
Tonight I have the president of the VR club. Okay, perfect. So can you explain to me what exactly is AR and VR?
Yeah, so AR and VR are both technologies that are kind of fall under this blanket term extended reality, or XR. And so augmented reality is going to be something where you're taking digital objects and kind of overlaying them on top of our real world. That's where like things like Pokemon Go come up, where you have like your camera out and then you see the Pokemon floating around in front of you. Virtual reality, on the other hand, is actually a completely simulated reality that's basically just technologically assisted. The most common form being having like a full headset and motion controllers.
Okay, so what are the resources on campus that refer to this club that we have?
Yeah, so apart from the Augmented and Virtual Reality Club, there's actually a couple of different initiatives and resources available. The Richardson Design Center, the new building over by the art building, they actually have a couple of VR headsets that are available for student projects. There's also the Virtual Reality Initiative that's run through the Office of the Vice President of Research, where I actually have an internship, and there they have a bunch of equipment that's available for checkout for students to use for different projects and whatnot. And then apart from that, we of course have the club, and the club's kind of goal there is to, same thing as the rest of these, to be a resource for students.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what experiences can you expect by joining the VR club?
Yeah, so we do a variety of different things. Right now we're actually in the middle of doing like a semester-long competition that's designed to just kind of help students get into the actual nitty-gritty of VR and AR if they're interested. Along with that, we also have different workshops that'll come up. We're having a couple guest speakers come up pretty soon that I'm pretty excited about. We're trying to still plan out all the fine details, so I don't have much information there, but definitely keep an eye on for like flyers and pamphlets that are going around. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of great resources that come up.
Awesome. So VR, has it been around? Is it more of like a newer thing?
So virtual reality has actually been around since like the 1950s. The first VR headset was that, although it actually goes back even further. Technically the first VR headset would be the stereoscopes built in the 1800s, because that fits the definition of a technologically assisted simulation of reality, where you have the two images, one for each eye, to create the 3D image. More recently though, what people are thinking about are the VR headsets that are things like the Oculus Rift. Those have been around since like 2012, 2014 is really when those kind of hit the forefront. But yeah, it's definitely actually older than most people think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know during the video and when I met up with you last, I got to play this game and it was super, super fun. Can you kind of explain like what was like in my hands when I was like playing, like what exactly are those called?
Yeah, so those are going to be the motion controllers, and what happens is those are just human interface devices that are actually positionally tracked. So the headset that you were wearing was actually tracking both of those headsets, so when you of course, when you move your arm in the space, you actually see it move in the digital space. In the headset itself, that has just basically two screens that are one for each eye that are just refreshing to show you what the next image is. Basically the same way that a 3D movie works, where you have two images, one for each eye, and you have just special lenses to actually allow you to focus in on that. But what's ended up happening is the headset itself is kind of tracking the world around you, as well as tracking those hands, your hands in the space itself, and then just any type of input that you put in, whether it's positional or one of those buttons that you have on there.
Okay, so do you think that VR is a category in itself, or do you think it's kind of going into more of like video games, like that kind of thing, or are they going to merge together, do you believe, or do you think it's necessarily just two categories?
Well, I definitely think there's some overlap since VR gaming is one of the first kind of big spaces that existed. There's definitely a lot more use for VR than just gaming. So it's kind of like saying, is our Photoshop and Microsoft Word the same thing? Not really. They're both computer programs, but they have sort of different nitty-gritty. Like, yeah, you could do word processing in Photoshop, although I never recommend that. But there is definitely overlap, but I would say that VR is kind of its own exclusive thing, primarily because it is a different way of interacting with the computer itself. Typically, we're used to this kind of square frame that we see in front of us, and then we look at that just focused in on there. VR is very different because that headset you have is allowing you to look 360 degrees. So it's a very different type of experience that has a lot of other design constraints that you have to consider whenever you're looking at it.
Awesome. So going back to the club itself, what are your guys' end goals? Like, what do you want people to get out of it?
Yeah, so I think our biggest thing is just trying to spread the use of VR equipment, because as I kind of mentioned, like, it is something that has a lot of application there. So our end goal is really to just allow students and interested faculty to come have a resource to actually start this process of getting into VR, because it's one of those things where you can really use it for a lot of things. I can use it for a geology project, I can use it for gaming, I can use it to watch 360-degree video. There's just a ton of different applications. So just getting people interested in what can I do with it.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody wanted to get in contact with you to join the club, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we have a Slack channel that we have set up. It's if you go to bit.ly/join with a capital JOIN, and then CSU ARVR, that'll get you into the Slack channel. We also have meetings every other week. Our next meeting will be March 9th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Nancy Richardson Design Center, room 120. So definitely just keep an eye out for all those. Those are probably the best ways, showing up or joining that Slack channel, I would say.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I really appreciate it. That's all we have tonight, Rams, and I'll see you for next month's Humans of CSU show. Be sure to stay tuned back in tomorrow for the Thursday night news. Until then, have a great night.